Welcome back to A Little Bit Culty, everyone. We are here with Amanda Montell. Not one, not two, 3-time guest. She's in the lead. Sarah, you're going to drop some knowledge about Amanda here?
Yeah.
Drop
A Little Bit
it.
Culty, you're the number one guest.
Oh my God, I love to win.
Well, you're in the lead.
Sorry, I have
You're in the
no,
lead.
exactly.
There's some invites out.
Exactly. And as long as the podcast is running, there will always be
Yeah.
a tally. And
If we shut it down, we'll send you a prize.
okay, amazing. Well, I
Yeah.
hope that never happens.
It might be a sash. Welcome to the rank of third highest guest on A
What
Little Bit
color
Culty.
will it be?
For those of
Gold.
you who have been living under a rock, Amanda Montell is a New York Times best-selling author. She wrote the book Cultish, which I'm sure most of you on this podcast know, The Language of Fanaticism, which is now out in paperback. We'll be diving into that later. She's an award-winning podcast, which all of you know sounds like a cult. The last time we were together, we were promoting your last book, The Age of Magical Overthinking, which was another phenomenal tome, dare I say.
And I learned all about the cult of Waffle House.
Yes, which actually that was one of our guest questions, just to dive right into it. I mean, your resume and your bio is phenomenal. You've written for all these incredible publications. You've now bridged the gap into fiction.
Yes.
Is this erotica?
Oh my God, no.
No?
I just announced my debut novel deal. And and the title is a little bit salacious. It's called Where to Put Your Tongue.
Yeah.
But it's about a Hollywood dialect coach who teaches Hollywood's brightest what to do with their mouths.
Hollywood.
Yes, but she also gets involved, this dialect coach.
And there's a plumber involved. Yes,
No, this
I
isn't
know.
the 90s. No,
Sorry.
she gets involved with
Dated myself.
yeah, that's a very I feel like plumber is a very Gen X.
Change the
porn
tire.
Or
plot.
pizza delivery man. Anyway,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
totally.
Please
No,
finish your
she
thought.
this dialect coach gets involved with sort of risky flirtation with a cult-followed film director, and so the Where to Put Your Tongue title is a little bit of a double entendre.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was kind of
You're good at
hoping.
those.
I was
You're good
kind
at
of
double
hoping for
entendres.
some erotica from Amanda Montell.
I mean, it will be kind of a sexy book, but in a sort of culturally critical way.
And
You know
do-
how I do.
yeah.
Do we find out where you put the tongue?
You will find out
All
where
right.
it should really be called Where Not to
That's-
Put Your Tongue.
As
That's
somebody
all
who
right.
has studied voiceover, I know exactly what she's talking about. Your
Yeah,
tongue
yeah.
goes in different places.
That's
Oh,
right.
does it?
Yes.
Your
But like,
alveolar ridge.
Yes.
Well, go on.
like if you have a British accent, your tongue and your mouth are doing entirely different things.
Of
And I'm not even trying
course.
to do a British
Yes,
accent.
of course.
I'm just speaking with my mouth differently.
Yeah,
right?
when I teach, I was just actually coaching one of my dear friends who is English and has a North London accent. I was trying to teach him to do an American accent.
Oh, what'd you
And
say?
so I had to, he was really struggling with dark L's, as they're called in linguistics, the L that appears at like the end of words like bottle versus a light L, which appears at the beginning of the words like light. Like one you're using like the tip of your tongue and one you're using like more of the back of your tongue. And so I was like literally like teaching him where to put his tongue. And that's like part of what dialect coaching is, which is a career that I did consider pursuing when I was in college, but before I went and
That's right.
wrote about
You studied
linguistics.
linguistics.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is a merging of a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And the cult director.
The cult-followed film
Okay,
director who
okay,
has
got
a
it.
sort of power abusive streak. That's what's so fun is that like with fiction, I get to take everything I've learned over these years of writing nonfiction and lift off into a world of my own.
It'd be a great business.
What?
We called it Where to Put Your Tongue.
Where to put your tongue? A dialect coaching business?
It could be
Where
like
the dialect coaches like
Sorry.
dress sexy.
air quotes are on dialect.
They could dress in French maid outfits.
I love this idea. Do not tempt me with an entrepreneurial endeavor. Like, we should start this.
Sidebar, and I know you'll appreciate this. We just did an episode about OneTaste. Have you done an episode on OneTaste?
It's coming.
Okay.
We are recording one in due time.
Is it with Ellen
Can we
Hewitt?
say holy
Yeah.
fucking shit with it one taste?
Yeah, I know.
I had no idea.
Really?
Not until I read the book how like diabolical that woman
It
was.
was. It was worse than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Like way
well,
worse.
Is it creepy to say I'm excited to find out? I look forward to learning more.
Yeah.
There was one
That's
particular,
diplomatic of you.
and I have this for later in my notes, but since we're talking about it, one particular thought-terminating cliché that they used that you're gonna fucking love.
Tell me.
It's called "get off on any stroke."
Oh, ew, Sarah.
Yeah.
Sarah, why would you think she would love
No,
that?
because it's got so many meanings. It's not just what you think. If you're upset about something, a stroke can not just mean a stroke, like a stroke.
Yeah.
But it's like anything that happens
okay.
in the organization. Like if you're upset, that's also a stroke. And basically the idea is that anything that happens, you should be okay with because that's your growth. So get off on any, like, how can you get off on that? Like, how can you make that okay? How can you grow from it, essentially? Yeah, so it's got many meanings.
God, and that's a classic example of a culty redefinition. You know,
Yes.
we know what a stroke is as everyday English speakers, but they're imbuing it with this charge that can be really manipulative.
Yes.
In your
yeah.
business, it would say something like, you can put your tongue anywhere. Right.
Nippy. Straight to
Sorry.
jail for you.
Sorry, okay.
I've given
just
him
gonna
so
kick
much
back.
fodder with this
Okay,
freaking novel
okay, I'm going to
title.
kick back and just hang out.
The really-
Let me know when you need me.
Really, for those who don't know, we have been planning this episode since Cultish came out in paperback, but life has been busy and you got married.
I did join the cult of marriage, although I'm doing it my way. So I feel like
you're still doing it in your alternative, not culty way.
yeah, I'd like to think so. I mean, whatever. Institutional establishments such as marriage are culty. But yeah, no, we're definitely approaching it from our own little direction. Yeah.
How's that? How's married life?
Like, so cute. I kind of love it.
It's fun.
It's done so much for our sense of ease as a couple, I think, because now that we have this, you know, emotional, legal, you know, just like much more serious commitment. Now, when we get into some stupid tiff or when we encounter a challenge, we're able to bounce back from it so much faster, knowing that like it's going to be a long life if we stew over these.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And it's also like just created, I don't know, like a sense of like emotional maturity and relaxation. Everything doesn't feel so threatening all the time. I mean, not like before marriage, everything was just like threats, but like it's done a surprising amount for our confidence as a couple. And that's like made room for, I don't know, more flexibility. Like I was so allergic to the idea of marriage before I like finally saw a vision of it that could work for us because I was like, oh, well, I don't want to be perceived as like a fucking trad wife. Like, I don't know. I didn't want to be perceived as someone who like was really into tradition. But you know, as I get older, I like care less and less about like how I could possibly be perceived. So that's a gift. But also I was like, well, is there some implication? Is there some sort of inherent implication with marriage that you like can't have your own independent life or that you can't, you know, like be your own person, you know, because you're all entangled with this individual and their identity for the rest of your life. But like, that's not true, you know, like I love to travel alone. I can still completely do that, you know, like I can still have my like kind of like Sex in the City style adventures and like, you know, close friendships that, you know, I could have had when I was single and that's not compromised by being married. I was overthinking it.
It ought to enhance it. And I think it puts a lot of the existential questions to rest too. Like aloneness, like, you know, and you have a relationship. Because I know for me, I to your point, I couldn't necessarily see how having a partner wasn't taking my time as opposed to enhancing it.
Yes. It's so true.
And if you can find that, like Sarah has. Sarah has.
She enhances your time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean,
she teaches you where to put your tongue. I'm just kidding.
and you're building something.
Yes, totally. And my husband and I have known each other since we were 12 years old.
That's right.
We met doing community theater as kids and then reconnected as adults.
That's awesome.
And so we just have this like deep familiarity with one another. And sometimes we'll like catch each other out of the corner of our eye and I'll be like, oh my God, you're Casey Kolb from middle school and high school. And like, that's so crazy.
And now you're my husband.
Yeah, now you're my husband. Like sometimes it'll occur to me how absurd that is, but I love it for the plot. You know, we're artists. So like we love romanticizing our lives. And like to your point, human beings are really meant to do life together. And it's not like it's not like our marriage is, you know, tying me down like the old ball and chain. It's just that like I know that I have this person to do life with. And that's really lovely.
That's great.
I love that.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
Cut and paste.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like what she said.
Okay.
Cut and paste.
All right.
That means we like it.
Yeah, no, I get that. Thank you.
Really, so we booked this because Cultish was coming out in paperback. But also we just want to hang out with you.
Totally. No, like we literally I just walked in the door and we like sat down at these microphones. So we're just kind of having a kiki and catching up. But
I love it.
I'm glad that we're like revisiting Cultish, because normally your book's paperback comes out like a year later if you get a paperback at all. But this paperback didn't come out until 4 years after the initial publication.
How does that work?
Well,
is that another podcast?
No, it's just that like the book, you know, it didn't have like a super splashy initial publication, you know, like I was kind of doing all the marketing myself, you know, and like that's why I launched my podcast Sounds Like a Cult, to get the word out about Cultish. But then like slowly but surely it just started finding its readership. It didn't come out of the gate finding its readership. It happened more slowly. Mm-hmm. And it just kept selling consistently enough that the publisher was like, all right, I guess we'll push the paperback till next year. All right, no, never mind. I guess we'll push it to next year, because you make more royalties on the hardback, obviously, because it's more expensive. Mm. So then, you know, it just was like, thankfully selling well enough that we pushed the paperback 4 whole ass years.
That's great.
And the other privilege of that was like, it gave me the opportunity to like pay attention to reader feedback over those 4 years. And I'm a completely different writer now than I was when I wrote Cultish, when it came out. And so, you know, when the paperback publishes, you get the opportunity to make any tweaks that you might have wanted to make. And so I did get to make some, which I was grateful for.
And that's something that we wanted to talk about, because we've had these conversations kind of more behind the scenes about some of the controversial topics, and we can go into as much of this.
Controversy in a very niche market.
With like three people.
Sure. Like I could never have imagined the readership that Cultish would develop when I wrote it. Like it's like I wrote it mostly in the pandemic.
Right.
My first book, Word Slut, had such a small, really good faith readership, you know? So like, it's ridiculous to think about now, but after Word Slut, my first book came out, I was checking my Goodreads reviews every day, because it was like, oh, another nice thing, you know? Yeah. Like, why wouldn't I want to read that? And, you know, it had a small but very engaged, self-selecting readership. It's a book about language and gender. Like, not everyone and their mother with a vague curiosity is going to pick that up. You kind of have to be a specific person. And so it was just like a very positive kind of situation. But I did want to write a book that would attract a slightly larger following. And, you know, I guess it makes sense that a book about cults would have a broader appeal. But I don't think, and this was my naivete, I guess, and just my kind of like youthful eagerness about my own curiosities and what I was writing about, I did not fully appreciate how strongly people would feel about even like tiny little points in the book.
We've run into that as well.
Yeah. The feedback has mostly been amazing. I mean, this book changed my career. But by amazing, I also mean like people who disagree and will reach out or express that in various ways. Great. Like what you know, how lucky am I that people are reading this book and engaging with it? Like, I didn't write something for people to unilaterally agree with. Like, that's cult later. You know, it's like, engage with it, disagree, love that. Like, it's basically just a long work of social science backed opinion. And so people are allowed to, you know, disagree. But because I wrote the book and when it came out, I was so young, you know, like I wrote this book at 27 and it came out at 29. I wasn't yet properly medicated for my anxiety disorder. I like didn't, I don't think I was like ready for the onslaught of feedback, because some of it was like respectfully dissenting, amazing. And then some of it like low-key made me feel like people wanted to ruin me. And I wasn't at that time skilled at discerning like, oh, this is feedback I really need to pay attention to, or that is valuable to me, versus this is feedback that's just in really bad faith. So it's been a learning journey.
I bet. And we were sort of peripheral to that, and I think that, you know, sort of I feel like anyway from our perspective that we learned a lot from watching you go through that, and also I feel like we got closer through it.
For sure.
And I remember when it happened, our perspective was like, what are you talking about? This book is shining a light on cults. Isn't that what we're trying to do here? Is what we're all trying to do. And and you were reaching a younger audience.
Yeah.
And you were, making the conversation cool. From a stereotypically
nerdy cool.
Yeah, seriously, from a stereotypically kind of like dry academic space, right? And so
we're marketing the cult space.
Yeah, but when we were reading it, we didn't. We were like, nah. Overall, my opinion of the book was that it did what we were all trying to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
Yeah, totally.
Interestingly, so I'm reading it again now for this week to prepare for this, and kind of rereading. But I have it on audio, so it's the old version.
Oh, okay, it's the old version.
Yeah, so I don't know what's changed.
Most readers, I swear to God, like 99% of readers would not even notice a difference between the hardback version and the paperback version. There are just a few points that, thanks to the feedback that I've gotten over the years, some of which was bestowed on me respectfully and some of which wasn't. But I paid attention to all of it, like I want to write a book that people love and find valuable. Like I'm not out here like trying to be an edgelord,
No.
or like a rage baiter or whatever. So I paid attention to all of it. Well, okay, not all of it. I'm not like just a vessel for like thousands of opinions. But I did notice that there were some points made in the hardback version that, we're just like maybe a couple words away from being a better made point or a more nuanced point. And there were like a couple sources that I referenced where it was like, oh yeah, maybe I like should have framed that source a little better according to like a very, very particular audience of people who, who are not just like curious readers who want to learn more about cult language, but whose entire life is cult recovery. And I didn't necessarily have like the awareness of that type of reader when I wrote this book. Like that's not my world. My world is more like the social science, cultural criticism world. So I did make some changes to not appease, but to account for that feedback because I want those people to find the book valuable. And I think there were some readers who like heard dog whistles that I didn't mean to blow.
I'd love to know some of those changes.
It's a fickle space.
Yeah.
Too.
I'd love to know some of those changes just out of curiosity. I know since reading it again, because the first time I read it, I guess when it first came out, so 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was before the podcast. And since then we've
4.5 years ago.
Yeah. I guess we're coming up on 5 years on the podcast.
5 in February.
And we've personally done deep dives into, concepts like brainwashing and, more specific things that we didn't really know much about. We didn't know about the controversy between the cult, anti-cult activists and the new religious movement people.
Me neither.
We didn't know that. So when I read that in your book, because it wasn't, I tend to like skim over things that I don't.
Yeah, our knowledge base is different now.
Yeah. So then I was like, oh, I can see now, knowing what I know, why that particular very little point.
No,
would have
I
been,
could see it too. And I made some very key small changes that I don't think compromised the point that I was trying to make. Because the point that I was trying to make by problematizing this term brainwashing is that it can just be used to otherize people, to dehumanize them.
Which we agree with.
To say like, oh, they're just brainwashed. No, you're brainwashed.
Yeah.
It can be a barrier to having productive dialogue. And there is, the fair point that, brainwashing is this sort of metaphorical term. And I thought that was interesting. Again, like my background's in linguistics. I'm interested in rhetoric and language. And that's where I was coming to that argument from.
Yeah.
But I have since learned that if I'm not careful about the specificity, the like ultra fine-tuned specificity with which I make that argument, it can be really triggering to certain cult surviving readers. Or not even cult surviving readers, like people who've made cult survivorship and cult recovery like their life and career. And that's fair enough. So I did recast a few of those points, also to highlight that there is disagreement in the cult space about how to use these terms, about how to define them. And I want to highlight that there is that that there are those discrepancies, because that just further proves my point that this term cult is really fraught. It's not like I'm not the first person to point out that it can be used in so many different contexts and that it sometimes is sensational, but it sometimes also is really important at highlighting the urgency of certain, cult crimes so that law enforcement will pay attention. So I just made those points a little more delicate in the paperback.
Also,
Perfect.
Yeah, to your point, I mean, it also exasperates, not having those distinctions exasperates why these cults are able to get away with what they have, because the language isn't there, so they can always wiggle it. And if the cult space doesn't get it right, they can't spot it, identify it, diagnose it, put it in a package and go, hey, this is what's going on. And that to me is what's, I think, is the value of doing what I think collectively we're doing, is just putting language to it.
Totally.
So when it happens, you're not confused about, what happened to you. You can kind of go, oh, that's mine.
Exactly.
Like
I mean, that type of labeling can be so powerful and empowering. And that's ultimately what I wanted to do with the book. And the fact that there was like this niche of readers that, did for now I realize like valid reasons get hung up on certain, not even the arguments that I was making about topics like brainwashing or Waco, but just like some of the framing, which I just thought was like really fascinating and kind of edgy. But it's like, no, there are certain people who aren't going to pay attention to my broader argument because I made that point that way. So I just didn't want to give anyone the excuse to like write off this whole book.
Smart.
And there will be people who
do it anyway.
Write off the whole book anyway. So at the end of the day, actually when I went through the paperback, I like hired out of my own pocket sensitivity checkers, fact checkers, citation checkers, like, because I wrote this when, I had editorial support from my publisher, obviously, but like there was no one at my publisher who was like a cult expert.
Right.
So, I wanted to make sure that the paperback is going to be the version of the book that most people for the rest of time read. So I wanted to make sure that I stood by absolutely every single point. And now I do. And fortunately, there were, some of these contractors that I hired, these like sensitivity checkers and such, assured me that like I did not have to be as paranoid about some of the feedback that I was getting as I was. I was feeling like, oh my God, I am a piece of shit for making this point that way.
No.
And these like objective parties were like, Amanda, you are fine. And you do, like my literary agent, my publisher, and these like freelancers that I hired to help me, they were literally like, you do not need to make one single change. Like for the average reader, you are so fine. But of course, like my heart couldn't bear like a version that would make some people a little bit upset. And so like, that's why I wanted to make the changes.
Well, it's a good reason.
Well, I appreciate that you did. And I'm sure those people who were upset will appreciate it. But I think overall, because I was reading it again, even with knowing what I know now, I still think it was never that you were saying that brainwashing doesn't exist. What you were saying was because you then go on to show how language actually does it.
Yes.
So it was more like just to say you can't just wash someone's brain and then you get them to do something. No, you have to go take them through a process.
I was making a semantic argument.
Right. Yes.
Because that's my lens, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm really interested in language and labeling and linguistic techniques and rhetorical tactics. And so I just wanted to make that lens ultra clear.
Yeah.
So that we can like move past that exposition and then get into what the book is actually about.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which is why I was so kind of disturbed by the whole controversy around it, because I feel like
it
was just I understand now that I'm more educated
Me too.
in the academics of it all and the history of it all, which I just didn't know anything about. And it's fucking crazy. Like, have you read I'm going to blow this. Rebecca Lamav's book about brainwashing. She was recently.
Oh, yeah. I actually had her on my other podcast.
You did? Oh, okay. Yeah.
She is gold.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah.
She is amazing. And
we need to amplify her voice because she's kind of
completely agree with you.
She's subdued a little bit. And I don't think she's
actually,
like a marketer.
Thank you for reminding me because I'm, well, I don't actually know if this is embargoed. I'm working on a project about a specific cult. We'll talk later.
Okay.
And I was tapped to recommend some academics to have as extra sources on the project. And I was like, oh, I'm thinking of someone and I forgot. And it's Rebecca Lamav. And I interviewed her on my Magical Overthinkers podcast. And she was amazing. And also like when you warm her up, she's like kind of fun too.
Yeah. I really enjoyed
she'll
that
joke
book.
around.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, she's promoting her book. She was on Rogan. I listened to her episode on Rogan. I could feel her a little bit nervous to be on Rogan. Understandable, because it's not really her.
Anyone would be.
Yeah. And then she was on ours, and she was a little nervous at first, and then she kind of, I mean, it's gold what she has. And it's so relevant. It is so relevant to what's going on right now.
Oh my God. Thank you for reminding me. I was like, who is this expert that I'm not thinking of? And it's
She's
Rebecca
great.
Lamov.
She's awesome. So I've learned, because of her and, people like that, I've just learned so much. And
me too. And Rebecca Lamov's, interaction with me and her whatever endorsement of my work, because, she pitched herself to be on my show and whatever. I'm just like, okay, I can't be this much of a fuck up if these people want to collaborate with me and talk to me or whatever. I think my effect with Cultish has been net positive. It's just
yeah, for sure.
There were some notes and good, and I'm learning. I'm not perfect. I'm always down to receive feedback as long as people aren't literally telling me they want to ruin my life.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of the social media thing that
for sure.
Anyone who's going to put an opinion out there is going to have to deal with.
I know.
Yeah, I just noticed when I've gotten firm on my opinions, the pushback comes. So it's kind of a physics to it. You push an idea out, it's synthesized with the world, and you get the pushback. Right?
I love when you put science into it. Because I'm like, okay, cult leader. No, I'm just kidding.
It is science.
Can you say that like Keith Raniere would say it?
I can. I'm not going to, because I need to be more physical and
You're like, I need to.
For the first time we were on camera.
I've been on camera before.
I mean, look, do it. Chop, chop.
You like to put me on the spot.
I do. He hates when I do this.
I love that about you.
It's so good.
I'm so ready. Good. I'm waiting patiently. I'm ready.
Do you want a pair of glasses?
No.
Come on.
No.
Oh my God, babe. Here, use my glasses.
No.
You gotta push
Get into costume.
It's Karen. It's just not. It's not. I gotta need more.
He just glared at me. I can feel it.
I'm method.
He's method.
It'll come out.
This is not
because I gotta move the mic. I can't. It's not. It's just not.
Cool.
All right, later.
Okay, maybe later.
He's very. You're like Daniel Day-Lewis. You need very specific circumstances.
It has to come to you. Yeah.
I get that. I totally get that.
If it doesn't come naturally today, Amanda, I promise you, I will send you a link,
please,
to this incredible footage of Nippy. This is when we're in Nexium.
Oh, I've seen it.
You've seen that? Oh, you've seen that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the height of it.
That's canon. That video's canon.
I light him up like a Christmas tree. No. I fuck him up, and I didn't know I was doing it.
It was an early sign.
That was the best. It's the best.
Wow, isn't it fucking crazy to think about him sitting in jail right now?
Tell her.
Like 2 nights ago, I go, think about Keith. We don't talk about it anymore. I don't even think about it anymore. Totally. It just hit me one day. I was like, wait.
He's alive.
He's alive, and he's doing the same thing right now that he was doing a year ago and 2 years ago, sitting in a jail. And I said to Sarah, she said, what do you think he's doing? He's like, probably thinking of ways to get out of it. And
yeah.
I mean,
planning.
For
he
sure.
He still has supporters, so why not make something up?
No, totally. No, he's scheming in his head. I mean, that's his.
What else is he going to do?
He's just there.
That's so crazy. In my mind, he poof, evaporated from Earth. But no, he's fully
still there.
I picture him on his bed looking up at a top bunk and counting the slats in the metal wiring of the mattress and
oh my God, Sarah.
Just plotting how to get us.
I have a chill down my spine. That's so spooky to think about.
He's in Arizona.
Right? He's in Arizona?
Tucson, Arizona.
Do you think I should go visit him?
I don't know what that would achieve.
Bring him some Little Bit Culty merch
for the pod. Yeah, be like, sucker. Like and subscribe.
I have, by the way, a pink fanny pack for you. A Little Bit Culty fanny pack.
I'm
just going to give it to you now. I was going to wait till the end.
Oh my God.
Wait, I thought you were joking. I thought you were saying that this is what you would offer Keith. This is for me?
For you, but I'll
my God,
one for Keith.
You.
We should send one to Keith.
Of course, there's Palo Santo in it and an AG1. Yeah, hell yeah. Oh, and what do we got here? Little
electrolytes.
Yeah, bless you.
I just figured you'd need a few things.
Wellness mommy. I walked through the front door and Sarah plied me with a power bar. But my mouth is full of I have some cavities right now, so it hurt my teeth.
Oh no. Oh no.
I can't have sugar right now.
Oh, that was way too sweet for you then. So
I'm gonna eat
I know it might be a little bit weird for you to have another cult podcast merch.
No, are you joking?
But I feel like that if anyone's going to wear a pink fanny pack, it's you.
Obviously. And I love this. A win for you is a win for me.
I feel the same way.
Love that.
That's totally how I feel. It makes me almost emotional. I don't know why.
Oh my God. Well, but there's a low threshold to making you emotional. I could be.
If my sister-in-law Steph was watching, she's like, yeah, but you cry at everything.
So, wait, hold on. So there's a couple guy friends that I have that listen to it.
You have friends?
A couple guy friends. Yeah. And when we hang out, they're like, did Sarah get emotional in your last podcast? They're always like,
no, but everyone loves it. You're so endearing. Totally. It's actually, I wish
and
I could open up like you. Like, like cry it. Actually, we're doing a Magical Overthinkers. I just recorded a Magical Overthinkers episode called Overthinking About Crying.
Oh.
With a woman that I think you would really connect with. She's like a breathwork girly who wrote a book about crying, and I think it's a good listen.
Okay. I have to admit something to you.
Okay.
I have not listened to your new podcast yet.
That's completely fine.
So tell me the difference between...
You haven't listened to ours yet.
I barely listened to ours. No, but seriously, tell the audience a little bit about the new podcast.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So my third book, The Age of Magical Overthinking, was kind of inspired by some of the literature I came across while writing Cultish, but that wasn't really right for that book. I came across all this behavioral economics and psychology literature about cognitive biases. Yeah, like sunk cost fallacy and confirmation bias, ones that people have heard of, but there have been hundreds of described cognitive biases, these like innate psychological tricks that human minds have always played on themselves in order to make efficient decisions about information from the world around us, enough to survive the world, you know? But now, like, our cognitive biases, including ones with fun names like the halo effect and, you know, like the IKEA effect, now they're clashing with the information age and causing us to do really irrational things like worship celebrities and then dethrone them the second we realize they've betrayed us, in scare quotes, or like, you know, investing our life into an Instagram manifestation guru or, you know, even irrational things that I've done in my romantic life. I was just really interested in the role of cognitive biases in irrational behavior specific to the information age. And that's what I wrote this book about. Every chapter is dedicated to a different cognitive bias, and I use it as a lens to explore some mysterious irrationality from the zeitgeist or my life. And same thing with Cultish and why I launched Sounds Like a Cult. It was in part to get the word out about the book, but it was also in part because I was like sad that I wasn't talking about everyday cults anymore. And I wanted an outlet to do that and a place to talk about things that ended up on the cutting room floor. And that's exactly what Magical Overthinkers is to the age of magical overthinking. So it's kind of like inspired by the book, an extension of the book. And every episode is like overthinking about blank, overthinking about blank, overthinking about blank. And I interview, you know, some brilliant scholar like Rebecca Lamov or Dr. Romani was on an episode, or so many cool people. My friend Ellie Anderson is a philosopher. We had an episode called Overthinking About Monogamy, and she focuses on the philosophy of relationships, and so we talked about that. Cool. And all the episodes are about like some sort of taboo psychological subject that is easy to spiral about.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time to listen. I honestly, like, Nippy and I are a bit at a stage in our podcast where, like, and we're not going to stop. We're not stopping. But we're also ready to talk about some other things.
Yeah, I imagine.
You know, I just need a little break. We had an episode the other day with a guy who grew up in a cult where he learned chess. And chess was like what the leader was going to do to show the world how great this group was, this community. And so he became a chess master at such a young age. And but in the story of his book, which is really about his journey in and out of this cult, he also explained the history of chess.
Whoa, that's cool.
And I was just so like giddy about learning about something and ingesting a memoir, because we're pretty much in like reading a book a week.
Reading a book every week.
Like,
some of them are big.
And we're listening. I tend to listen to them, right? Because I'm like doing laundry and driving and walking, but I am also taking in a book a week, and to have some new content was very, very exciting for me.
Yeah, I mean, you deserve to think about other things. But I mean, it's your podcast, so if you want to play a little looser with the thesis, then I really think we're
going to go straight into politics.
Yeah, great. Yeah. I mean, you could. That would be an easy transition. But, you know, this will always feel like an authentic podcast to the a little bit culty mission or whatever, because you're always going to filter whatever subject you talk about through that kind of idea.
Yeah. That was
it's
actually
a process-driven podcast.
We just had to say
physics.
Physics.
Tell us about the physics of the universe.
It's not going to happen.
God damn it.
It's so good. Just know that it comes to I'm going to hear about this later. He's like, don't put me on the spot.
Well, I've asked you multiple times.
I know, but it's just so good. And I just wish I could.
We're telling you where to put your tongue.
Oh.
What if we frame it that way?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Honestly, the reason I don't want to do it is because I have to sit up and I can't use the mic.
You don't have enough space.
I don't.
And he is pretty expressive in a very specific way.
If it's going to be good, so you don't compromise my work.
Totally. No, you can't half-ass it.
It's my craft.
I respect that.